Speaking Human.
Welcome to this special interview episode of Speaking Human. I'm Shad Conley, Communications Director at Monsters Unlimited, and with me as always is...
Patrick Jeber, Creative Director at Monsters Unlimited.
Today we're joined by a special guest, voiceover artist Kelly Buttrick. We actually connected with Kelly through Twitter as a result of our recent podcast episode spotlighting the Jeep brand. That's episode number 53 if you're looking to find it in iTunes. Kelly at the time was doing her own marketing effort involving Jeep, which we'll dive into a little more here in just a minute. So we wanted to talk to her to learn a little more about what it's like to work in the voiceover world and explore the unique and unorthodox approach she has taken to market her voiceover business. So Kelly, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me here today.
So we just wanted to, we wanted to start out by learning a little more about what you do, which is, kind of unique. Not every Joe on the street does this job, so I think it's kind of interesting to our listeners. How long have you been doing voiceover work, and how did you get into it?
Well, I've been doing it for quite some time, and when I first started, I didn't even know voiceover was a thing. I was just, recording telephone systems and doing spots for various radio and television stations I worked for at the time. Did not know that voiceover was a career, so I've been doing it for, more than 15 years. Full time, I'm in my 6th year, just started my 6th year. I got started because I have a theater background, a degree and work experience in PR and marketing. And it just was a nice marriage of background and education. And it is really fun. And it's interesting even to those of us who are in it. Okay.
So something you started to dabble in that gradually just became your full career?
Absolutely. I spend, most people spend their full-time job sitting at a desk. I spend mine sitting in a little box in a windowless room.
So did you have to work on intonation? Was there some classes or anything that got you prepared to do it full-time?
Oh, sure. And everybody, if you talk to other voice talent, everybody comes to it a different way. I had a broadcast background. So I had what, I hate to say this, and I'm doing little air quotes here, a nice voice. But I went to a coach, a wonderful, wonderful coach who became a mentor. I'm getting emotional because we lost him a couple of years ago, but a very dear friend. But when I started with him, he taught me how to not sound like an announcer, because that's really the key, is you have to make somebody else's words sound like your own, which sounds really easy until you're having to say things like 0% APR financing, like that's something you chat about with your buddies all the time. So he was really great at getting me out of the announcer voice. And while he's no longer with us, I can still hear him sometimes as I'm doing auditions or record and sends, and I hear him going, announcer, stop. The real sound is what is in now, as you guys know. I mean, you're in this business. When you're listening to national spots, it's very much the real sound. And I'd say probably 98% of the auditions we get, they've even coined a term, non-announcery. Do not sound like an announcer. Make it sound real, genuine, authentic. So that's kind of the trend.
Yeah, I think that's the trend in pretty much all marketing now, especially I think social media really took us to that point, where they want people to feel like you're just having a conversation as opposed to I'm hard selling you throughout the entire.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or being broadcasting out. They want you to be engaging rather than just throwing things out there. And there's little techniques and tricks that you learn along the way, or from coaching or from mentoring, to get to that real sound.
So can you give some examples of the types of work that you've done and the companies that you've worked with?
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you. Right now, your listeners, because these are national spots, I have one for Pampers Easy Up, Belgard Pavers. I hate to admit this, but I am the PSA voice of the Arkansas Razorbacks. By the way, if you're listening, UGA, I'd really like to be your PSA voice since I'm an alumni. Just got to throw that in there. Stickley Furniture, I did a bunch of TV ads for them. Radio-wise, at least on iHeartRadio, I'm the voice of Direct Eats. Let's see, I do Chase for Business. I've done some Kroger spots. I do the Container Stores. I just did a really fun one, sport clips. That was a hoot. And I've done Carnival. I've done a bunch of, national work, but I do a lot of local and regional work too. I do a monthly spot for IP Casino when they have different artists come in to perform. I do Bon Secours Hospital. Back in my home state of Michigan, there's a little place called Morning Glory Coffee and Pastries. And I also do Explore Pensacola, which is a place I hope to retire. And then, you do corporate stuff, things that show up on internet videos or YouTube or even in-house. And I've done stuff for IBM, Gerber, Stanley Black & Decker, which is kind of funny because I'm not a do-it-yourselfer.
Oh, really?
Garmin, Disney. Oh, yeah, I'm telling people how to install sinks in their bathrooms and ceiling fans and that kind of stuff. It's pretty funny. If anybody rides the Amtrak Acela Express, I am the voice of that train. Wow. I had a video game just come out where I play this really, really evil Southern woman, which is funny because my Southern accent is so not authentic. But I played Tamara Bellich in Knee Deep. That's really fun. I did a really interesting project for the CDC where I talked about transmission of the stomach virus. And trust me, it was hard to get through that without giggling. And I do live announcing like the Grand Imaging Awards. And then recently I just did one for Garmin where I talked to pilots and I got to say the classic, pull up, pull up. It was really fun.
Sounds like you definitely keep busy.
Yes. I do keep pretty busy, that's for sure.
Now,
In fact, I'm getting ready to go out of town and pack my microphone with me. I always work.
Now, I know you mentioned you have a sound booth there, right, that you work out of your home?
Yes.
And then you also probably go into studios.
Absolutely. It just depends on what the client wants.
It's kind of amazing. You talk about all these things, the scope of things you don't even realize, how many things have voiceover attached to them, right?
Yes. Whenever I go speak to UGA advertising students, I usually ask if anybody can define what voiceover is. And then we go through the things. And it's funny how many people come back, even friends, and say, wow, I never thought about that before, but I was shopping and heard somebody's voice in Kohl's and I didn't think about it, but that's voiceover. Like, yes, it is. And you just kind of want to give them a high five, like, yay, you get it.
So what's your, of all the things you work on, do you have like a favorite thing you work on, or is there a type of work that's kind of your favorite work to do?
I mostly do broadcast, which is always fun. One of my favorite spots was for Goodwill in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. And I think it's on my YouTube channel, but I got to say butt. That was kind of fun. When I was talking about jeans that make your butt look big, I don't know. I thought that was funny. And I will say this video game character work was really a blast. That was really fun to do, to play somebody bad. Because I'm a pretty nice person and my voice often gets booked for either friendly corporate, reassuring, a lot of mom stuff. So to play somebody evil was really fun.
Was that more difficult than just doing a straight voiceover? Because did you have to match up with what was being displayed on screen while you were?
Oh, thank goodness, no. Yeah. I did not have to do that.
Oh, that's
They,
good.
I think, took the audio and matched the audio to my voice. No, I did not have to do ADR on that one. Woo!
Yeah.
Don't give them any ideas.
That kind of relates. Let me ask you, when you're doing any sort of voiceover work, I mean, obviously for that one, you're playing a character, but when you're doing like other things, do you think of yourself as playing like a character?
Yeah, sometimes. Now, obviously, like on some of the local and regional, they just want a friendly announcer sound, kind of like I'm talking right now, that nice smile. Can you hear that smile in my voice? That doesn't necessarily sound real, but it still sounds smiley and engaging. But when you're doing a real one, if I can't get into the moment, sometimes I will picture the person I'm talking to. I may also do what I'm doing now, which is I get a little bit closer to the microphone and drop my energy level, maybe vary up the pace and speed, kind of like I'm doing now, like we normally talk. So it just depends on the project.
It's interesting how you're visualizing them, even though that they're not there while you're doing voiceover, and using those different approaches depending on the client.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when people are directing voice talent, it's always helpful if they'll say something like, picture yourself, you're talking to your girlfriend at the soccer field. So you're going to sound a little bit different than if you're at a party talking to a group of people. It's still both going to sound real, but just different.
Yeah, and it changes the tone of the message, if it's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I specialize in, is matching my tone to fit the message. And, that was actually part of one of my messages to Jeep was, and you guys know this so well, you are married to a company's Pantone colors and logo, and the logo placement must always be in the upper left-hand corner, and the font must always be Garamond, such and such, so-and-so. So we're, as advertisers, and I come from that side of the industry. I used to do PR. So we're married to these things. These are things you have to do. But what I think a lot of brands don't think about is the sound. Now, radio and television stations do, because you have voices that are their imaging voices. It's the same voice. So I think it'd be great for a brand, especially a brand like Jeep, to think of one or two voices that can deliver multiple messages. So the tone of voice for a Jeep Wrangler is going to be a little bit different than the voice that's coming up for the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, which is going to be an 8-passenger luxury vehicle. But one voice can still deliver that message in a way that will engage their target. It's just little differences in the voice, but still when you hear that one voice, you want them to think, oh, that's the sound of my brand.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of examples of that over the years of different brands that have had a voice that you say, oh, I recognize that voice, I recognize that person, or even if it's a celebrity or a talent. Yeah. Talking about that recent campaign that you have to connect with Jeep and bring your voice to the brand, how did you get that idea and what inspired you to take that step?
Well, everybody, when it comes to the beginning of the year, most small business owners go, okay, well, what do I want to do this year? How do I want to grow? So I'm a pretty busy talent. I'm really lucky that way. I've worked very hard to get where I am. But I also have a passion about this concept of using one voice because it's a great marriage of my background in PR and marketing and voiceover. I would love to be the voice of a brand. Actually, ideally, I'd like to be the voice of 3 to 5 brands and just do everything from apps to advertising, in-store announcements, to internet videos, everything. So then I started thinking about, okay, so what brands resonate with me? And immediately Jeep came to mind because we have, as a family, from my just awesome stepdad, who, when he married my mom, we also got his Jeep that he built himself, which was just, I mean, it wasn't pretty to look at, but oh my gosh, it was so much fun. We had such a great time jumping the sand dunes with it. And I'll never forget looking over at my brand new fun step cousins bouncing around like popcorn in his cousin's Jeep Wagoneer, I think is what they were called at the time, racing each other over these dunes. And then my husband and I, the first car we ever bought together was a Jeep Cherokee Sport. And we've owned at least one Jeep ever since. We've got 2 right now. And then when our daughter turns 16, she'll get Brian's Jeep Grand Cherokee. And he's already, I just sent him the email about the new Jeep Grand Cherokee Summit, which is the highest end. And his response to me was, that was a $50,000 email.
Yeah. It's not.
I think he's got his heart set on that one. So Jeep obviously has meant a lot to our family. And so that's why it came to mind. I love everything it represents, the freedom of going off-road, fun, all of those things that the brand represent really resonate. And I thought, so, I mean, it's kind of crazy. Their marketing avatar is not 45-year-old women. Mm-hmm. So it really was stepping out of a comfort zone. But I just thought it'd be fun.
Yeah. And even if it's different, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That could be a great expansion for them in terms of tapping into an audience they maybe haven't been tapping into as much as they could with their branding.
Absolutely. And with this new Jeep Grand Wagoneer, who do you think they're going to be marketing to? Moms. I mean, we're talking a luxury vehicle with 8 places. So obviously they're talking to moms and a woman's voice. And this was on one of the, and I'm not going to remember it all off the top of my head, but it was on one of the snail mail pieces I sent, where there's been research talking about how a woman's voice is preferred. That's why it's a woman's voice on all of the navigational systems, that people, especially automotive people, like the sound of a woman's voice. So I can sound like a hot 20-something in a Wrangler who just totally digs taking it out on the beach or maybe going camping. I can talk like that. I can engage that type of audience, but I can also engage the corporate guy who still wants that taste of cool, but is driving the Jeep Grand Cherokee because he's got that cool, but it still has the space for clients going out to dinner. It still has a really nice, luxurious interior. So there's different, again, going back to those tones and those treatments of the copy, my voice can absolutely appeal to that marketing avatar. So I really hope that they keep that in mind. Hopefully they're listening and hear us talking about that.
Yeah, definitely. And to give our, listeners a little background, if they don't know, what Kelly did was created a series of video where she pitched herself as being the voice of Jeep. And there's a series of different videos. And I know you also reached out to people at Jeep via some direct marketing efforts. And there's some digital marketing going on here where there's just drawing attention to this idea. So you've gotten some attention for that. I know you had an article in Adweek.
That was the best. Oh my gosh. That was oh wow. That was so awesome.
It was a good piece. And I don't know, did they talk to you beforehand or was that kind of a surprise when that came out?
It surprised me. And I mean, it was really, I was in a panic because my site had gone down the night before or 2 days before. And I didn't know it was coming. And so I think I got it about 5:30 in the morning because I have a Google alert out on the words Jeep and advertising so I can stay up on what's going on with them. That came up and I was so excited. My poor husband, I think, thought somebody had passed away because I was hyperventilating and I ran into the bedroom and woke him up and was like, what happened? This is so exciting. So no, that was great. I launched my campaign to Jeep in July and was hesitant to go public with it because you're really kind of in a weird limbo at that point. And I didn't want to anger them or force a hand. But when they came out with their My Jeep Story campaign, where they sent an email out to Jeep owners, and we got it, saying, encouraging them to share content, I went, oh, great, this is opening the door. So that's why we really started pushing it, we being my PR team and I. And I was just thrilled to no end that Adweek picked it up, and my industry colleagues have just, oh my gosh, I mean, they're wonderful people, and they've helped share and get the word out. It's been really great. And then I went into a panic day before yesterday, I think it was. Jeep came out and said they're going to officially launch the hashtag My Jeep Story campaign on April 7th. And I went, oh, shoot. I've been spending all this time waving the Jeep flag, thinking it was already officially launched, but apparently it's not. So you're going to be seeing a lot more My Jeep Story stuff coming from Jeep. And I'll have to find ways to flip around some of the messages I've already put out there.
Huh. Yeah, I had no idea it wasn't officially launched either. We had obviously talked about it on the podcast, and they had the Super Bowl ad and everything, so I thought it was out there.
It was a soft, hard launch.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think you know what it was? They probably decided to go public after you did it and we did it. They probably thought, oh, those two did it. Maybe we should go.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
I'm just kidding.
We incentivized them. We gave them. So the question, I guess, is, have you heard at all from Jeep on this?
When I sent the first video, again, total another freak out moment, I was contacted directly by two pretty huge people at Jeep. And I just don't feel comfortable saying the name yet. I'm not trying to be coy.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
But one of them was something to the effect of, holy cow, who are you and how did you make this happen? Because the snail mail hit the same day as the video, but that was strictly a happy accident. Then later that evening, I heard from one of the really top people just saying, thank you. We appreciate it. This is really innovative. We are impressed. I will put it in the right hands. So I have heard directly from them. At the time, they did not have an agency of record. Well, flashback to several weeks ago, they came out and announced they do have an agency of record now. Then I started trying to contact them through social media and obviously monitoring them. I hand wrote congratulations cards to some of the people whose names were affiliated with the spot that they had done for Jeep, congratulating them on winning the account. And then this week, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So I posted the Jeep Grand Wagoneer video and decided to be a little brazen and tagged them in it saying, hey, DDB Chicago, when you're looking to market to, who do you think's excited about the Jeep Grand Wagoneer? Cool moms. Who gets booked regularly to speak to cool moms? Hello, my name is Kelly Buttrick, blah, blah, blah. And so they liked it. And I was super psyched at that point. And then the next day they came back and said something like, "Thank you. You have a great voice. We'll keep you in mind." So I was super psyched about that. And I don't want to get too excited because I can't do that. Because as a voice talent, you audition and you let it go. You don't overthink it because you drive yourself insane. And anybody I mentor, I always tell them that. But this is something different because I've invested not just a great deal of finances, but also a huge chunk of my heart and passion in it. So I'm really, really trying not to get too excited, but it's hard because I'm totally pumped. But as you know, it takes a long time for major brands to make decisions. I wouldn't expect them to hear it and go, "Great, let's hire her right now today." I get that.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you have that emotional investment, it's sometimes more difficult than others. I always say when we're looking forward to some client that we really want to work with, you have that cautiously optimistic outlook. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So because when it's a client you really want to work with, you have that emotional investment, regardless of if it's still business, you want to work with them. So I get that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and, obviously the whole reason I did this was to voice for Jeep. I have a passion for it. I want to do it. But I'm also hoping that the public part of this campaign may interest some of those other brands when I was thinking about where I wanted to go. If there's another brand that engages and hears or, likes the brazenness of the campaign or the personality behind it, or especially the voice, if they think I would resonate with their brand, I'd love to work for them too. But of course, my heart is set on Jeep.
Yeah, there's a good, that's what I was thinking though, just through the process and even just through doing this with or without Jeep, there's a great PR aspect to it. I mean, we're talking to you. We know who you are. We didn't before. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people like that too.
I hope so. I mean, trust me, I used to be an investigative newspaper reporter. So when you guys ran your blog, which was so awesome, thank you for doing that. Your blog post on me, I immediately went to your website. Which I love, and I think I put that in the card. I love all your content. I love your theme and how you've just incorporated it in such a fun way. I'm smiling just talking about it because it's just a fun website, and you guys have really engaging content. And so as I'm writing the note in my mind, I'm thinking it would be really great to work with them because they sound fun. They produce really great quality work. This would be a fun exposure, which again never would have happened, like you said, without me doing this nutty thing.
Can I say one thing? I love that you sent us a physical note that was handwritten from something that sort of spurred from social media. Like, I'll tell you right now, that is so, you can't even say it goes against the norm because nobody.
It's rare. It's very rare. Yeah.
So it was wonderful. And it by itself, something that, really stuck to us. And, one of the reasons why we wanted, to talk to you even more because,
oh, good.
Yeah, I mean, while the story was very, very interesting and everything, that just little personal approach in a world where everything is so digital and, you're tweeting and you're just emails, there's no personal connection there. A handwritten note goes a long way today. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I did send handwritten notes to Jeep people and continued on even after I sent the campaign when they would have little victories that I would read about. I would send them a handwritten note. I sent handwritten congratulation notes, like I said, to the people at DDB Chicago as well.
Yeah, it's a lost art.
Grab. It really is. And especially these days, it gets your attention. So lesson learned, listeners, handwritten note goes a long way.
Oh, thank you. And I also have subtle branding on it so that you don't have the cheeseball factor of including a business card, something, hey, thank you, check out my business card. I mean, that takes the sentiment out of it.
Yeah.
But the note itself, based on the way it's designed, it doesn't, scream it, but it's there. This is what I do. I'm a voice talent. Is there in a very subtle way.
Well, we know you are a voice talent, and we appreciate you talking to us so much. I know you actually have to get to work now.
I do. I just got a little text going, where are you?
Tell our listeners where they can learn more about your work or connect with you on social media.
Oh, that'd be great. Well, kbvoiceovers.com is a great one. kb4jeep.com is where that campaign lives. Anybody who wants to post, share, retweet, that'd be awesome. Hashtag my Jeep story to get Jeep's attention. Hashtag KB4Jeep so I know what you're doing. That'd be awesome. Facebook, I'm on Kelly Buttrick Voiceover Talent, kbvoiceovers.com. Twitter, I am KB_voiceovers, all one word. You guys, thank you. I wish I was there just to give you a big hug right now. I really do. It just made my whole day. Thank you so much.
We hope to talk to you again soon, and good luck at your next job today.
Thank you, and good luck getting that Speaking Human Jeep, okay, you guys? If you get that, I got to see it. Heck, I'll drive up to Ohio and take a ride in it with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thanks,
Bye,
Kelly.
you guys. Thanks so much.
That's it for this special interview episode of Speaking Human. Remember, you can find past episodes of the podcast, including our Jeep brand Spotlight episode, at speakinghuman.com, or you can find it in the iTunes store.
We leave you today with an audio clip from one of Kelly's video messages to Jeep. Catch you next time, humans.
Speaking Human.
My friends at Jeep, you say, go anywhere, do anything. And I took it to heart. I'm a professional voice talent, and I want a voice for you. So I'm going anywhere and doing anything to get an opportunity to voice for a brand that is near and dear to my heart. One of the things I love about Jeep is that you don't need a paved road. You make your own road. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. In the voiceover industry, let me tell you, this is not done. Traditional voiceover marketing dictates that we hide in our little caves and our little closets, and we don't let anybody see us. We don't actively go after clients. We wait for them to come to us. Well, I'm forging my own path. I'm going my own way. I'm paving my own road, and I'm going to bring you with me. I'm Kelly Buttrick, and I'm a voice for any terrain.